You're waiting to feel motivated. Not your diet, not your workout plan, not your schedule or your gym, or the fact that you started over too many times to count. You're waiting for a feeling that isn't coming. And every day you wait is the day you stay exactly where you are. I'm going to tell you something that took me longer to learn than I want to admit. Motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. Waiting for motivation cost me my health. And that one shift changed everything. Let me tell you about this past Tuesday. I woke up and did not want to go to the gym. Not in a tired way, not in a rough morning way. I mean, I genuinely, completely did not want to go. My body felt heavy. My mind was already looking for reasons to why I could make this an exception. I had a full list of legitimate things I could do instead. And here's what I want you to understand. I went anyway. Not because I found the motivation, not because I gave myself a talk or read something inspiring or remembered my why. I went because I have a system that doesn't ask how I feel before I leave the house. I got up, put my clothes on, packed my bag, left. By the time I was in the car, something had shifted. By the time I was in the gym, the resistance was gone. By the time I finished the first set, I was glad I came. But none of that happened before I left. None of it happened while I was still in the bed negotiating with myself. It happened after the action, not before. That's not a motivational trick. That's just how motivation actually works. And nobody teaches it that way. Here's the story we've all been told about successful people. They wake up energized, they jump out of bed ready to attack the day. They love their workouts, they love their meal prep, they're driven by a fire that burns so consistently that the hard things don't feel hard to them. That story is a big, fat lie. What you're actually looking at when you see someone who's consistent is not a person who always feels like doing it. You're looking at a person who does it whether they feel like it or not. That's a completely different thing. And it looks the same from the outside, which is why the myth survives. I lost over 90 pounds, and people see that number like it was inevitable, like I was always gonna get there. What they don't see are the mornings I sat on the edge of the bed trying to convince myself to go. They don't see the conversations I had with myself in the car before I even turned the key. They don't see the version of me that almost didn't make it out the door more times than I can count. I have hundreds of workouts I didn't want to do. I've had weeks where every single session felt like dragging myself through something instead of choosing it. I've had mornings where the only thought in my head was, why am I doing this? And I went anyway. Not every time, but most times. More times than I didn't. That's what consistency actually looks like from the inside. Not fire, just showing up. Let me reframe something. Motivation is real. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying it's been misdefined. Most people think motivation is a prerequisite. Something you need to have before you start. Like a tank you fill up before a trip. And if the tank is empty, you wait until it fills again. But motivation isn't a prerequisite, it's a byproduct. It shows up after you start, not before. Think about any time you dragged yourself to the gym when you didn't feel like going. What happened when you got there? Somewhere in the warm-up or the first exercise or 5 minutes in, something changed. You stopped thinking about how you didn't want to be there and started being there. The action generated the state. That's not a coincidence. That's just how it works. Your brain responds to movement, to effort, to doing the thing. And once you start, the feeling follows. People who understand this have an enormous advantage over everyone waiting to feel ready, because they don't need to feel ready. Ready isn't a feeling, ready is a decision. And decisions don't require a particular emotional state to be made. I want to make this practical because it's easy to say action creates motivation and have it sound just like another thing you heard somewhere. First, stop making going to the gym a negotiation. Right now, if you're like most people, every workout is a decision made on the day. You wake up and assess. How do I feel? Am I tired? Is working out going to be crazy? And depending on the answers, you either go or you don't. That system is guaranteed to produce inconsistency because there will be a reason not to go, always. Life is always busy, you're always a little tired, there's always something. If the decision lives in the moment will usually win. The alternative is making the decision before the moment. Not on Monday morning, on Sunday, when you're not tired and the excuses haven't arrived yet. You put it on the calendar, you treat it like an appointment, and then Monday comes and you don't feel like it. There's nothing left to decide. You already decided, you just have to execute. Second, get comfortable with starting badly. Most people skip workouts not because they don't want to go. They skip because they don't think they have enough energy to do it the way they want to. They tell themselves, I'm too tired to have a good workout, so I'll wait till I can do it right. But a bad workout is infinitely better than no workout. A 30-minute session where you went through the motions beats a rest day you didn't plan every single time. Not because the 30 minutes was perfect, because it reinforced the identity. It put another day in the column that says, I'm someone who shows up. The column is more valuable than any single session. Third, stop looking for inspiration before you act. I don't read motivational content before my workouts. I don't watch hype videos. I don't need to feel fired up to go. I just need to go. The inspiration can come after. The feeling can arrive once I'm already there. If you need to feel a certain way before you take action, you've handed control of your behavior to your emotional state. And your emotional state is unreliable. It changes by the hour. It responds to sleep, stress, and 100 other things you can't control. Your behavior can't afford to depend on something that variable. Here's something nobody tells you about building discipline. It gets easier, not because the workouts get easier, but because the internal fight gets smaller. When you first start going to the gym, regardless of how you feel, every session you didn't want to do and did anyway is a brick. You're building something. And the thing you're building is the habit of going, the identity of someone who goes. Here's what happens over time. The negotiations get shorter. At the beginning, the internal argument before a hard session can last 20 minutes. The pros, the cons, the justifications, the bargaining. By the time you leave for the gym, you're exhausted from the conversation. A year in, that conversation might take 30 seconds. 2 years in, it might not happen at all. You just go. Not because you always feel like it, because it's just what you do. Personally, for me, I'm overall, including the off and on, about 5 years in. I still have that conversation. It's very short-lived these days, but I still have that conversation. Not that often, but maybe 3-4 times a month. I go 5 days a week, sometimes 6. So, the odds are in my favor. But that is freedom. Not the dramatic version, the quiet version. The one that shows up as reliability, as a consistency, as the slow accumulation of sessions that nobody sees, but that add up to everything. I remember the first time I noticed that argument was gone. I was on my way to the gym one day. I would have skipped 6 months earlier, and I realized I hadn't debated it. I hadn't assessed my energy level or weighed the options. I had just gotten in the car. That moment was worth more to me than any number on the scale, because it told me the person I am trying to become was starting to be just who I was. If I had to give you one thing to take from this video, it would be this: lower the threshold. Right now, your threshold for going to the gym is too high. You need to feel good. You need to be rested. You need to feel motivated. Lower it. The threshold should be, I have 20 minutes and I can physically get there. That's it. That's enough. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to be at 100%. You just need to go. Because what happens 90% of the time when you get there on a low energy day is that you do more than 20 minutes. Your body warms up, your mind flows, and the session you thought was going to be survival turns into a real one. And on the 10% of days where you get there and it really is just 20 minutes, you still win. You still put the day in the column. You still prove to yourself that you're someone who shows up. That matters more than the length of the session. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Lower the threshold, make the action non-negotiable, and let the motivation show up after. It will. It always does. But it won't come first. Don't wait for it to come first. I want to say one more thing. This is not about grinding. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's not about pushing through pain or ignoring your body or treating rest like failure. Rest matters. Recovery matters. There are days you should not go. This is about the days you don't go because you don't feel like it. The days the couch wins, not because your body needs rest, but because the feeling didn't show up and you decided to wait for it. On those days, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is go anyway. Not because suffering is virtuous, because the version of you that you're building goes on those days. And every time you go on a day you don't feel like it, you become slightly more that person. That feeling catches up. It always catches up. But you have to move first. Tell me in the comments, what's one day this week where you went and you didn't feel like it? Or a day where you didn't go but you wish you had? I read every one. And if you're ready to build a structure that stops relying on how you feel and starts relying on who you're becoming, be on the lookout. I got something coming. I'm Coach Ron, and I see you next Tuesday. Peace.